This week in Thailand, as of right now, it appears justice has been served. Multiple arrests made in the case about the missing Russian siblings from Pattaya. Simultaneously, Thailand officials are making moves to fast-track deportations for troubled tourists. Bangkok officials look like they're making moves to ban one of the most iconic things that most people, when they think Thailand, they think of this. That and much more in today's video, so let's get into it. How's it going? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're having a wonderful day. It has been a wild week or two in regards to Thailand headlines. In all fairness, it's always pretty crazy, but this past 2 weeks especially, man, we have been on the grind trying to keep up with everything. In today's video, we're going to cover some developments and some stories that you've probably seen floating around the interweb as well. But we've also got some important rumors that I think are very pertinent to kind of air out, kind of shoot down with us being out there, with us putting these videos out. I get to see a lot of recourse from you guys in the comments, and there's been a lot of them. There's been a lot of rumors flying around, most of which are not true, but if people see them and they believe them, I think it could be very unfairly negative when it comes to Thailand's image. So let's hop into the stories. Let's air those out so you can know what's true and what's not. Our first story today will probably come as no surprise to many of you, myself included. You'll know if you've been here for a while, we are never running short on stories of foreigners coming to Thailand and just doing everything you should not do. And understandably, a lot of Thai people are over it. I would feel the same way if this was my country and I saw people willingly coming there and just kind of throwing the proverbial middle finger to what we do in our country. And it sounds like officials have heard that, and now they're starting to make moves about it. Thailand has approved a new regulation establishing a formal framework to accelerate the deportation of foreign nationals who violate Thai law. The draft, proposed by Deputy Prime Minister Pakorn Nilprapunt, was approved as part of a broader government effort to modernize Thailand's immigration system and close procedural gaps that officials say have slowed deportation proceedings for years. While Thailand's Deportation Act 2499, established in 1956, has long provided legal authority to remove foreign nationals from the kingdom, officials acknowledge that no dedicated administrative regulation previously existed to govern how deportation should be carried out in practice. As a result, authorities often rely on coordination among multiple agencies, a process that the government said could be time-consuming and cumbersome. The new regulation is intended to create a standardized process, allowing for more efficient action when dealing with foreign nationals whose actions are deemed detrimental to public order or national security. So, this story has only been out for a couple days, and the internet has already gone aflame with people that are misconstruing this and thinking that this is some attempt to be able to deport people for things that aren't that big of a deal. They made it very clear, if you actually go and read up on what this whole system is trying to do, they made it very clear that this is only going to be used for people who are violating serious laws. If you get pulled over for a speeding ticket or something like that, this new regulation is not some way for them to say, hey, we're just going to kick everybody out. You break any law, you're gone. That's not what this is. This is reserved for people who break serious laws, and what this is an attempt to do is to speed up the process for people who are already getting deported. As of right now, this process can be dragged out for serious lengths of time. Deportation orders will come in, and then people will still sit here in cells for months before being sent back to their country. What this is an attempt to streamline that process so people aren't just sitting here in jail cells, both for those people themselves, if they're already getting deported, if they've already done their time for a crime in Thailand. There's really no sense in then keeping them in jail while they're waiting to go back home. This also costs Thailand money when these people are still sitting in cells. So if you see people on the internet talking about, hey, Thailand's moving to just deport everybody. If you break any law as a foreigner in Thailand, you're going to get deported. That is absolutely not true. That is not what this is. But this does show that the government is saying, hey, if you break any serious laws, you're not going to sit around here. You're not going to sit in a cell and fight it for some extended period of time. You're going to do your time here. You're going to, deal with the consequences, and then we're going to send you packing. Now, rolling into our next story, if you follow the news at all in Thailand, you'll know The story over the past couple weeks has been in regards to the missing Russian siblings. Why I struggle. This is my seventh take trying to say this. Just give me a break. Missing Russian siblings from Pattaya. You probably already know that they were able to find their main suspects, and those suspects admitted to killing the Russian siblings, apparently to steal their motorcycle. I'm not sure if I necessarily believe that motive, but the police also got a huge surprise during this arrest, and a lot more information ended up coming out. The arrest of two suspects who confessed to killing two Russian siblings in Chonburi has led to the discovery of a Thai family of three who had been reported missing 2 months ago. Ex-convict Tana Kurtong, 43, and Tongchai Srinil, 39, who were arrested in Saikau on Friday, were taken by police to the burial site of the young Russian siblings in Chonburi later that night. The site was in a forest in Tamban Huyai of the Banglamung district, about 2 kilometers from where the killings took place, according to police. Nearby, officers found the bodies of a father, a mother, and their daughter buried in a single grave in a coconut grove. Tana, one of the suspects in slaying of the Russians, had confessed to killing the family, who also lived in Banglamung, claiming the motive was robbery. Investigators then arrested the 2 other suspects, identified as Chatchanan Pan Ayem and Atsadang Chuwang. According to the confession, the suspects went to the victim's house posing as police officers and handcuffed the husband and wife, who were the only people home at the time. The couple's daughter later returned from a convenience store and then was restrained herself. Investigators said the suspects then took all 3 to another location, shot them dead, and buried their bodies. Police are continuing to verify Tana's statements and investigate whether he may be linked to other crimes. So over the past couple days since this arrest happened, there has been tons and tons of speculation coming out to other cases, whether these guys should have been on the streets in the first place. There's a whole bunch out there. As of right now, what I just read to you guys is pretty much what we know for sure. Police have also made it very clear that even though this counts as a confession, they're still going to corroborate everything. They're going to go through, they're going to make sure that if there is anybody else involved, they are also going to be arrested. Of course, these 2 main suspects are what most of the coverage is about, but there is also 2 other suspects that have also been arrested in accordance with helping these 2 hide the evidence. The Prime Minister also did an interview urging tourists to understand that these types of stories are the ones that stand out because things like this don't happen very often in Thailand. One thing that I have seen with covering this over the past week or 2, the amount of comments of people that are saying, oh, Thailand's too dangerous now, people should avoid Thailand. Of course, every country has its bad people. You're not going to be able to avoid that anywhere. But the reason these have been such massive stories is because it does not happen very often. We've said it countless times on this channel. Is Thailand a safe place? Generally, yes, but that does not mean that you should ignore warning signs or you should just be completely oblivious to what's going on around you. I feel so bad for this family as well as the Russian kids because they've made it pretty clear that these guys posed as police officers. So I understand why you might be more trusting of someone that poses as a police officer. But if you've never spent time in Thailand, police generally have a very formal yet informal kind of way that they operate. Police officers approaching you by themselves in Thailand is very rare. Most of the time, your interaction with police, if you're spending time here, is going to be at checkpoints. It's not like America where police pull you over on the side of the road and you're interacting with them by yourself. That does not happen very often. There is no way you're ever going to get in trouble for trying to confirm that a police officer is who they say they are. For the most part, it's very easy to tell. They're usually very respectful. They're very transparent about what's going on. If you have any questions, if you're ever somewhere and somebody approaches you and you're not sure whether you should believe their story or not, it is not a bad idea to make them prove that or not be willing to go to a second location. That is one thing that we get taught in America. It's a dark thing, but it is something that's very important to understand. If something like this ever happens to you, God forbid, second location can never happen. You can't go with somebody and let them take you somewhere that's even more secluded. You just can't do it. If it's going to happen, you might as well let it happen there, because if you go with them and go to a place that they know, a place that they know is quiet or where they can get away with doing whatever, You just cannot do it. But to address the rumors of Thailand is not very safe, or people should avoid Thailand, I don't believe that in the slightest. But with that said, another thing that the prime minister harped on relentlessly in this interview is do not ignore red flags. 99.9% chance that if you come to Thailand, you're going to have zero problems, but those people exist everywhere. If you have any questions, you don't trust somebody, you're worried about it, listen to your gut and you will be fine. Now, moving along to our next story, another one that you do not see very often, especially here in Thailand. Me coming from America, this is just kind of an everyday thing. A gunman took his own life during a police siege at a condominium in the early hours of August 2nd, hours after killing a man at a funeral ceremony in a temple in Lat Phrao area of Bangkok. Officers from Chok Chai police station were called to Boeng Thong Long Temple in Lat Phrao on the evening of August 1st following a fatal shooting during the funeral of a 22-year-old Nawipa. Social media posts claimed the suspect was under the influence and had used ketamine-laced e-cigarettes. However, police have not confirmed those claims. Officers surrounded the condominium and advised nearby residents to remain inside their homes. At about 2:15 a.m., police heard 2 gunshots from inside the room and forced entry. Naparat was found with a gunshot wound to the head. His girlfriend was rescued unharmed from the room, and the suspect was taken to the hospital where he was later pronounced dead. So this entire situation happened just the day before yesterday. And of course, the people that were already hopping all over the incident with the Russian siblings took this as more proof that Thailand was no longer safe. We've already harped on that enough. You know how I feel about it. If you feel different, please let me know down in the comments. But ideally, have some explanation as to why or changes that you've seen. Back it up a little bit. Don't just say it. I think there are a lot of people out there that, for whatever reason, they want to see Thailand fail in whatever regard. We won't get into that whole neighborly issue that seems to be happening with some other people in the area of Thailand. This thing, once again, things like this are extraordinary. They don't happen very often. And I know, especially if you watch these videos or you follow us on Facebook, Instagram, anything like that, if you don't do that, do it, by the way. We do a lot more coverage there. But I know if you're just watching these videos or you're seeing those reports, it could be very easy to think, oh, well, this happens all the time. This stuff is happening everywhere. If we're seeing all this in the news, imagine what's not getting reported. It could be easy to think that, but from what I've seen, this stuff gets reported on because it doesn't happen very often, but same rules apply. You never know if somebody's having a bad day. The way I look at it is if it's somebody random, you never know. Don't push it. You don't know what somebody's going through. You don't know if they've had a terrible day already, and sometimes people can just snap. That is not exclusive to Thailand. That's not exclusive to America. That's just people. Now, if you spent any time in Thailand, especially over the past 10 years or so, you've probably noticed that Thailand is doing everything they can to modernize. They want to be on the same level with a lot of European countries when it comes to, conservation, modernization, going green, things like that. It is kind of funny because there's like a kind of a dichotomy. We won't get into that today. But in regards to this last story, it's one of those ones where I understand it, but at the same time, it kind of upset me, to be honest. I was a little bummed. If this becomes a thing, this, being able to see these things out and about was, when I thought of Thailand before I came here, this is one thing that always popped in my brain. Like, if you think Japan before you have ever been there, what do you think? You think samurais, you think cherry blossoms, kind of those just quintessential Japanese or Thai things. And this is one of them, but it looks like it might be on the way out. The Department of Land Transport is seeking public feedback on a proposal to ban petrol-powered tuk-tuks in central Bangkok as part of its efforts to reduce air and noise pollution. The proposed ban on petrol tuk-tuks in Bangkok would apply to the inner city, where many of the capital's major tourist attractions and historic landmarks. According to the Ministry of Transport, reducing emissions and noise in these areas is one of the reasons behind the proposal. The ministry opened a public consultation on the plan from July 28th to August 27th, inviting members of the public to submit their opinions through the Department of Land Transport's official website. So I've got some feelings about this. Especially after being in Bangkok for a little bit, I drive around quite a bit. I ride my bike. I take my Civic around. So I've been in the traffic. I've seen it boots on the ground. So in regards to the tuk-tuks specifically, there are a lot more electric ones now, which a lot of people, I see a lot of the locals using them. In regards to these ones, there's a couple reasons I think this is going on. I think another reason, not only just the emissions, I think the ministry is somewhat trying to nip tuk-tuks kind of overcharging tourists. I think some tourists come here and they get a bad taste in their mouth because they feel like the prices they're getting aren't fair. I think that's the main one. When it comes to pollution and noise, I've got some quarrels with that. Personally, if it was me, what I see, the vehicles that I see on the road the most in Bangkok, when I see them drive by, it's just a cloud of black smoke. If you get stuck behind them on a motorcycle, it is absolutely miserable. Are the public buses. Now, there seems to be 2 or 3 different fleets, but there are certain ones, certain routes where these buses, they got to be from the 70s. They are so old, there's no air conditioning, and they are just billowing clouds of smoke. So I think modernizing that might be the way to go first, in my opinion, especially these tuk-tuks. They're little 3-cylinder motors. They're not, these huge diesel, just billowing clouds of smoke. The other one that I think could also use some optimization are the songtaos. If you've never been here, they're essentially pickup trucks with some seats in the bed. They drive around. They're like 15 baht to take them around. The buses and the songtaos are what I see inhibiting traffic the most, especially the songtaos, because there's no designated area for them to stop and pick people up. So especially here on An Nut Road, the amount of times traffic is backed up because the songtao is stopping and blocking a lane every 15 or 20 feet. Honestly, it drives me insane. So I think if this is really about optimizing, modernizing, trying to get some emissions down, I think there are some other routes to take that probably would be a bit more beneficial, in my opinion. But let me know what you think down in the comments. I think this would be kind of a shot to like Bangkok's vibe in all reality. Tuk-tuks are quintessential Thailand. I love seeing them. A lot of them are super cool and modified. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Do you think this would be a win or a loss for Thailand and Bangkok especially? Let me know. So that is our update on the happenings of this week. Per usual, let me know what you think down in the comments, especially when it comes to the case of the Russian siblings. Do you think we're going to see more? Do you have more questions? Feel free to drop those down below. I love hearing from you guys to get a feel from the ground. If you did make it this far in the video, thank you so much for being here. If you would like to stay updated on what's happening in Thailand and all of Asia for that matter, you know what to do. Subscribe button is down below. Also, if you want some more quick hit, maybe you don't have the time to sit down and watch a full video, feel free to follow us on Facebook. Especially, we cover pretty much everything coming out of the country. Quick read so you can get in, get out, and you know what's going on. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I will see you in the next one.